Okay, so now see if you can hear it. Blah, 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 blah. Because it had like the wrong microphone or something.
I can hear it, but now I can't see you. It's just like,
Oh,
there
yeah.
you are.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
now you can hear it and see me. Okay. Okay, I'll get started then. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SharePoint Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and this is our live show that we do every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday at 11 Central. And I have Joelle Jobson here. Say hello.
Hello.
And we work at our company is IW Mentor SharePoint Training, and we do a lot of PowerApps training. And this SharePoint Power Hour is just an hour of demoing just something or talking about updates or just whatever's going on in SharePoint and Office 365. We also have a Slack channel that you can come and chat, and that's the fun part about having it be live is that we have live chat. We can ask questions, and it's interactive, and we can, just kind of all talk through things sometimes. So today's demo is going to, it seems like the PowerApps Power Hours have been pretty popular lately. So I decided to do one about this cool little thing I figured out with a way to do sorting in a Power App. So I'll be demoing that. Basically, the idea is that you can, in a Power App in a gallery, kind of create this kind of column headers and ability to toggle sorts on all the different column headers just within the Power App. And so I'll go ahead and share my screen, and everybody say hello and say, I guess, that you can hear me and everything's all good. So and sorry about the delay. All right, so let me just go share my screen. Oh, let me change my resolution real quick so that it's better for the recording. And thanks, Joelle, for doing Power Hour last week when I was out camping. Okay, wrong monitor. Let me see. There we go. That just makes the Power App look a little more clear when I share my screen. Okay, here is... All right, so here's a list of projects in SharePoint, and it's a modern list, of course. And we have, of course, the ability to customize forms. And we're going to not only have a form for this project list, but I just threw a gallery in here because I want to show you, and you can do this in any Power App. It doesn't have to be a Power App of a customized list form. It can be just any just from scratch Power App or whatever. But here is what I've done so far. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. So I have this just list of projects. So the idea is, it doesn't really matter kind of what it's a list of. The idea is that we're going to put column headers across the top. This is just a gallery. We're going to put column headers so that they're clickable column headers that are going to let you sort by, whichever column it is at the top. So the first thing that we'll do is we got to put some labels for what the names of the columns are here. So I'm going to insert some labels, and what I can do is, let's see, I'll make that white. It's funny, Joelle, I think, mentioned this in Power Hour last week, but during the InfoPath training class that I'm not InfoPath, PowerApps training class that we taught a couple of weeks ago, some updates came out in PowerApps. I think it was literally it was like day 2 of the class. All of a sudden, PowerApps looked different. So that was entertaining. That was fun to work through. But okay, so we've got, this is going to say project name. And then we're going to, let's see, do a few of these. Just copy and paste it. And then this is going to be customer make this a little, probably it doesn't need to be that big, because there are a couple other things I want to do to make it. I need to make the font a little smaller. We're going to do a lot of tweaking here. It's going to look lovely when we're done with it, because it's all about really the visual part. I know we talk about PowerApps and we talk about kind of how time consuming some stuff is. Well, this is one of those things that comes out pretty cool, but can be time consuming. Project name, customer, and then status. And date. And one more will be the project manager. And there are different sort of issues we're going to have with different types of fields too in doing this that we'll talk through as we get to them. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to insert this little icon that looks like a little sorting, the little arrows up and down. And the idea is that when people hover over a column name, I want the sorting to, it's going to light up the whole column header. So, but first I'm going to put the functionality in here. So I'm going to put the functionality for each of these and have a button next to each one, and then we'll kind of work, spend time on making it look cool. Does that sound good? All right. Let me pull up my little reference here of the thing I already built that does this. Sure. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, make this white real quick to make this, so you can see it better. No, not the fill, the color. There. So we're going to make this so that if whatever column, we're going to have a bunch of these sort buttons, and whatever column name you click on, that's what it's going to be sorted by. So we're going to use context variables to do that. Because when we when we click a button, not only do we want it to put that column name as what we're sorting by, but we also want it to toggle between ascending and descending. So there are a few different moving parts we need to have in place for that. So I'll go ahead and, so when we click this, we got to have some variables. So update context is what that does a local variable, which is going to be local to this screen that we're on. So I got to pick on select. And we're going to, basically this whole gallery is going to be sorted by, we're going to have a sort on all these items, sorted by the name of that variable. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll just do a sort by columns. And then say what our, this is going to be what our data source is. So projects is the data source. So that's our SharePoint list. And then we have the order that what we're sorting by and the order that we're sorting by. Now, when they first arrive on this screen, we also have to take into consideration that we might want it already sorted. So then we can actually set a value for just what it's sorted by automatically. But then if they click one of the headers, then we have to make it sort by that. So we'll kind of build that out and build upon it. So first of all, I'm just going to say, we're just going to do the variable, and then we'll add like a condition in there to put a default in and all that. So we're going to kind of start off with it pretty simple and then add on to it. So I'm going to say, yeah, this is the, let's see, I'll do the toggle. So let me show you what the syntax is. So you got to say what your source is, and then you got to say what your column is. So in this case, project name is actually the title. column. So the title, project name is the title. Let's just do it. We're just going to hard code it in here so you can see how it works. And then we got to do ascending or descending. All right, so let's just show you how that works real quick. So when I click this, I don't have it toggling. So it's just hard coded to be just, this button doesn't do anything yet. It's just hard coded to sort projects by title ascending. Okay, so then the part with the toggle is going to be if, I'm going to create this context variable, sort then ascending and descending are opposites in here. And then, so since ascending and descending are opposites, it when we use the exclamation mark in our syntax in our function, that's what's going to toggle back and forth. So booleans are true and false, and those will toggle back and forth when we use, and you'll see in a second I'll use an exclamation mark, and ascending and descending are opposites, and so those are going to toggle back and forth. So let's see, if ascending and descending, then let's see, hold on, I'm going to break this down and not make it so complicated. All right, sort by columns, and then I'm going to put, instead of just hard coding title in there, I'm going to create this variable called sort priority. So now you've seen how it works with it just hard coded in there just by saying sort by title and just typing ascending or descending. Now we're going to say sort priority. And sort priority is going to be the name of the variable that we're creating. So sort by columns, we're sorting projects by sort priority. Now there's also another function called sort, and when you use the sort function, you can't use a variable. It has to just be hard coded with the names of columns. So that's one of the main differences between sort and sort by columns, is that is the ability to be able to use a variable like this. Okay, so let's see. So projects, and then sort priority, and then and I'm just going to start by typing in ascending, and then we'll do that. We'll add the toggle part in later. Sort by columns, project, sort priority. Now sort priority is, it says invalid name because I haven't set a sort priority yet. So I have no columns yet, have no value for this sort priority variable, which is why it's confused and it's saying, yeah, I don't know what this is. All right, so what I can do is I can quickly, just for now, I can create a button just for testing that will just set the sort priority real quick. Another thing I can do just when it goes into production is when you arrive on this screen, I can do the on visible to set the sort priority variable if I want to. So for now, just to be able to have a value in it so that it functions, I'm going to put a button on here that sets the sort priority. So I'll do update context. And then I'm going to put the name of a put title. Oh, I didn't put the little brackets around it. There. Okay. So this button is going to basically quickly set my sort priority as title. And that's just going to be for me for now, so that when I arrive on the screen, so that there's something in there, in that variable. So I click the button. So now it has, let's go look at it, go view our variables, and we have sort priority and it says title. So it's where I can see that, validate that that's what it says. Now, so this whole thing is sorting by whatever the sort priority is. So now all I need to do is when somebody clicks one of these buttons, make it sort by that column name instead of just title. Okay, so this one's going to be update context, and I'm going to put sort priority, and then I'm going to put the name of this one. This is title, of course. And then I'll just copy this. And we're going to do the ascending, descending too in a minute. We'll just copy this whole little arrow thing. Copy, paste, and show you what it looks like with, we'll do status. And then this one's called project status. Project status is a weird, let me see, what's it? It's like, yeah, there it is, this weird cryptic thing in the middle. Because it's got a space, right? There. Okay, so now let's try previewing that. So it's sorting by, so now it's sorting by project status, but it's only going ascending. So now it's sorting by project name. Pretty cool, right? What do y'all think? Sorry. Anybody, y'all, do you all understand what I did so far? So I set a variable in here so that whichever column header I click on, it's just sorting that one. Okay. So what we can do is we can add it to all of them, but we're kind of going to make it look a little cooler too before we copy and paste it to all of them. But that's the idea. So now let's talk about the ascending versus descending, where we can toggle it back and forth. So for that, we're going to have a variable. We're just going to call it sort descending. So when I'm going to click this button, so not only is it going to set the sort priority, it's going to set this sort descending to the opposite of what it already is. Let's see. Actually, by default, when I click this button, I just want to set it to ascending because that's sort of my reset, just my test button. All right, sort priority, title, sort descending. Now, ascending and descending don't go in quotes because those are actual like Boolean values that PowerApps understands. So I set sort descending to ascending. So let me go ahead and click the button so it sort of reset everything. And then I got to make this button so that it also toggles back and forth, right? So when I click here, I'm not only going to change the sort priority, I'm going to do my, let's see, sort descending. I'm going to do the opposite of whatever it already is. So that's why I'm going to put an exclamation mark. So whatever sort descending variable is now, whether it's ascending or descending, it's going to toggle it back and forth. Sort descending. It's just, so basically, oops, let me see. Sort descending, update context, sort descending to, sorry, the name of the variable is sort descending, and then the value is going to be the opposite of itself. So it's setting sort descending to the opposite of itself whenever I toggle it. All right, so let's see. Yeah, that doesn't, why does it have an error? Sort descending. Huh. Let me go ahead and set that variable. Okay, so I click the button, which is my sort of little test, just my little reset button, and that is setting sort descending to ascending. And let's go view it. Oh, see, it says error. Oh, that's because it's got an error over here. Okay. Well, it doesn't have a value in it, though. Hold on. Let's go look at what the value is going to be. On visible. Context. Okay, we'll change this to be the opposite of itself. Yeah, it's not doing it yet. Okay, let's go to this button. And then this needs to somehow know that it's going to start off as ascending or descending. So right now it doesn't have a value. It doesn't have either one of them. So that's why it's not doing anything when we click on it. Let me go ahead and set a default. On here. All right, so this this gallery itself just has ascending as just hard coded in here. So this is going to need to be the name of that variable. Descending. So it's still confused about what sort descending is because it doesn't have a value yet. Let me do a different button here. Actually, I want to set it to be ascending. Sort descending is ascending. It's sometimes when you do things in the wrong order in PowerApps, it gets confused because like if a variable doesn't exist yet, then all the things that refer to that variable don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. So let me see. Sort. If sort descending. Oh, okay. I'm going to do an if statement here, and I'll explain why in a second. Then ascending, otherwise descending. It's expecting a Boolean and it doesn't have anything in it. Here, let me get rid of that. There. Now all the errors went away. Okay. Okay, so basically if it has a value in this variable right here for the ascending and descending, it's going to be ascending, otherwise it's going to be descending. So look at that. Does that make sense? So now it toggles back and forth on this button. So basically the value, this is what I changed. So the three parts of this sort by columns are the source, which is just the list of projects, sort priority, and I'll explain this whole limitations thing too later. The sort priority is the name of the column that I'm clicking on. So that's a variable. All right. And then this third section right here is just the order. So that's toggling between ascending and descending. So if there is basically if sort descending variable is something at all, like has a value, then sort it by ascending, otherwise sort it by descending. So that's how this whole that's on the gallery. So that's how the gallery knows what to sort by. So then let's go over to, so this thing, I'll just delete that. So now what I want to do, now that I've got it functioning so it toggles back and forth, is I want to show you how to make it kind of nice looking. So let me say I want so I've got a column here, and I've got, this is called, I'll call it LBL project name. I'll just call it LBL project COL for column. You can develop your own naming conventions for these things. And then this thing, this button, I want it to be basically have the same height as that label, and I'll call it ICO SRT project. So now I'm going to go into the advanced settings of this icon and go to the height. Project column dot height. Okay, so now it's got, see how it got shrunk a little smaller. So now here's the cool part. So what I can do with this little button is I can expand out the padding on the left to make it sort of cover this whole thing. So let's see, I want my padding left to be like 30 or something. Yeah, so then I can make its width be the same thing as this other, let's see, LBL project column. You'll see where I'm going with this. Okay, so now it's got the same width. It needs to have the same X and Y too. So it'll line up just right on top of it. Okay, oops, let's see. And dot Y. Okay, so now it's a little off, so I just have to adjust what the padding is on the left side. So we'll just say like 50. Let's see what that looks like. See how it's kind of moving over? And this thing, I can make it. Anyway, I just basically just want it to be able to line up and be kind of a little arrow right on this side of it. It's moving over. Okay. So now that's lined up. So let me make this so that I want it to be really just right on top of here. And there's probably some math that I could do, like subtracting it from the width or something like that. Okay, that looks better. Now when I hover over this whole thing, now notice that this icon is actually on top of the label. It's above it. So when I hover over this, I want this whole icon to do something, like to light up. So right now it's got like a hover color, you can tell, but I want this whole thing to do that. So I'm going to say hover. Let's go look for my hover properties. So I've got hover color, hover fill. So hover fill is what I want. So hover fill, I want to be basically like just kind of a light, like a white. So I'll do hover. Let me go up here and go to hover fill. And I'm going to say RGBA. Let's see, maybe I'll do it. Yeah, I just want it to be like a white but kind of clear. Hover color. I'll just change it over here to be white. And then instead of being solid, I want it to be like 0.5 or something. Look how cool, see? See what I mean? You like that? So now once that's all done and that's all looking nice, then I can take this concept. So now when I click on it, no matter where I click on the column header, it sorts that whole column. And I don't know if I like the way it changes from white to black, but whatever. So now I can take this, now that I've got it all set up, and copy it and paste it and put it over here on top of customer. So now this new version of it, I'll just call it ICO sort customer, like that. ICO sort customer, and then ICO sort customer is going to be the one that I have to change all these values to. So, oh, I should have put on Twitter that I had moved this over to Facebook instead of YouTube. Oops. Hope everybody found us. Okay, so now it looks like I'm still on the same one, but I'm not. So now what's the name of this label? LBL cust call for column. So I'm going to take this one and all the other places that I had referenced this project name column in here. I just need to change it to reference the customer column. Carolyn said, "Are we still working on it?" No, we're not working on it. We're on Facebook. On Facebook. Sorry. That's probably where everybody is. They're just sitting there waiting on YouTube. Oops. Okay. I'll upload it to YouTube. Sorry about that. So now all the places where I am referencing that other column heading, I'm going to reference this new one, the customer one. So it's easy to kind of just skim through here. And instead of title, it's going to be, so what's the name of my, this is customer lookup.value. Okay, so this one is going to be tricky because this is a lookup field. Yeah, I'll talk about that one in a minute. But that one's going to, lookup fields and choice fields and people fields are going to act differently. So this one is just a text field. So let's move on and go to project status. So project status, I'm going to call this LBL status column. And then this one needs to copy and paste it. And it's going to be looking at the status. Copy that. Yeah, there we go. And then this is my new icon, ICO sort status. And I need to go find those references. And it's the X and the Y. And I think the width was even supposed to be that too. Let me see. Oh, yeah, yeah. Dot width. Dot height. And then the padding's important. Yeah, I've got the padding in there. You know what? Not sure why it's so small. Oh, padding's probably too much. There. It was just squishing it too far there. Okay. Now that name of that column is project. Let's see. Let's take this because I want this to be able to sort it by the project status when I sort it. So on select, the sort priority is going to be this other field. Okay. Now let's try it out so far. I'm skipping over customer for now. So now project name toggles and status toggles. All right, now we'll go ahead and go over to date and do that one too. I'm gonna do like, let's see, what's the width of this thing? The width is, I'll do some better math to get like what the padding needs to be so that it's more sort of dynamic. The width of this is 190 and I put the padding left at 150. So I'll just say like 40 pixels is what we're going to leave for this thing. So I'll say the padding left is going to be dot width minus 40 there, and that'll make it more sort of variable to where okay. And then this one too. It's going to be ICO sort status. Dot width minus 40. Okay. And let's do date. So copy this one and paste it and then rename it ICO sort date. We can spend a lot of time doing PowerApps, can't we? A lot of this stuff is just pretty time consuming. Okay. So this one now needs to point to that status column. So LBL status column is what it needs to see. And that's going to be down here. Sort date. Did I rename the date column? Hold on. Nope, let's see. Date column. All right, and that one's too wide there. So this needs to look at the label date column to get its width and height. And we've talked about this a couple of times. We talked about this like in other Power Hours where, you know, how these columns can reference each other and the kind of the power of that. All right, I think I got them all. And then instead of it referencing the project status when I sort it, let's see, what is the name of this? This is called project start. So I'll have to sort project start. Okay. Oh, cool. See, now those are doing what they're supposed to do. And so again, now we've only got 15 minutes left, but I'll go ahead and tell you that when you start trying to do those more complex fields, you're going to start coming across issues. So because the customer lookup is, again, this is a lookup field in SharePoint, so it's more complex. So let's go try and see what happens when we try and make the sort toggle that customer lookup.value. Yeah, it doesn't do it. So status works, customer lookup just doesn't. And this, you're going to come across the same thing with a people field. So the solution for this, that a couple of different solutions. One solution for this is to, in SharePoint, don't use lookup fields and don't use the complex fields, which that's not always the most feasible, to just completely not use them. Or and the other option is to pull those items into a collection in your Power App, which a collection is like this temporary sort of array of items, this storage of where you can pull an entire list in, and then use the collection here in your gallery instead of using that direct SharePoint list. So then once you start using collections, then you got to like make sure you're always updating your collections and make sure they don't get like off kilter and out of whack from the live data. And so then you have all these other considerations. So, but if you want to be able to do, you do these little buttons with the sorting on those, then that's the kind of thing you're going to come across. So what we can do is, let me get rid of this little button I had on here. I'll show you how to do that, how to do the collection. So we'll create a, we'll just say whenever the app starts, and I'm just gonna name this button on start just so we can kind of mock up what we do when the app starts, so we don't have to keep actually starting it over and over. So on start, you can say collect. Let's say clear collect. Clear means if you have a collection, you clear everything out, start all over, and I'll call it COL projects. I'm just giving it a name. And then I'm going to collect projects. Just basically that whole SharePoint list. So what happens when I do this? So I just collected. Now, if you have a list with hundreds, thousands of items, that's going to be that's another whole set of considerations that you have as to what your performance is going to be and how you're going to work with that. But now I can go view and go to collections, and I can see that I collected this whole, it's only going to show me 5, but I can collected this whole list of projects here. All right, so there they exist. And then in this gallery, let me go ahead and fix it so it shows the right, there we go. In this gallery, instead of putting the SharePoint list projects, I put COL projects. And then in my collection, when I'm collecting, I can do an additional thing where I can basically create extraneous, just extra columns. And so there's this add column functionality that you can do so that I can make the customer, just the name of the customer, be a column, and a column I can sort by. And I can say I can make the project manager just their display name, make that be an extra column that I can sort by. So let's see, let's go see how much, if I have enough time for that. Is that, of course, a lot of you are still sitting there waiting on on YouTube for me to start, so you might not be in here, but does that make sense so far? Any feedback? The 3 of you that are watching. Let's see, we've got, it says we have 7 viewers. I guess we don't have as many people on Facebook.
I'm assuming too that I was thinking that it's probably because people have Facebook blocked at work.
Oh yeah, yeah. And plus I've always just done this on YouTube, so
Yeah.
yeah, and I tweeted the link to YouTube. It's okay. I'll just go I'll just go upload it. I think I'm recording it locally. Oh, I don't know. Maybe not. And well, I don't know, whatever. I'll figure it out. Okay. So this is going to be a collection right here. So it is a collection. I just changed it to collection. So all I did was change it to the name of the collection. So then what I can do is go to do this add columns thing. And again, I'm debating whether to even bother with the add columns because that's way advanced, and I don't even know if this local recording got done. So let me see kind of what the complexity of that is, and if I have the bandwidth to. I don't think I have time to explain adding columns to a collection in 10 minutes. That's kind of slow. Yeah, I don't think it recorded. So yeah, we had 7 viewers and we have 10 minutes left, and I don't think I set it to automatically record the Facebook, because the YouTube one usually automatically records it. Awesome. All right, well, thanks, Brad. I'm glad you liked it. Maybe I'll just put a link out to the one on, I'll just leave the one on Facebook there and just go ahead and tweet out a link to that one. But I definitely don't have time to explain the adding columns. Basically, the concept is that, you go look at this collection, is that as the collection is being done, you can create a formula to add additional columns to it. So they can be just something dynamic, kind of like the idea of like a calculated column, like something based on other fields. In this case, it could be like getting project manager dot display name and creating that as a column. And then same thing with any of these other more complex, like customer lookup dot value, and creating those as separate columns so that when you're sorting, you could sort by those. So let's see. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And that was just one very small, I mean, PowerApps, there are hundreds of things that complexity and different formulas and things that you can do. So the ability to sort and have those cute little column headers is just one sort of little example of a fun thing that you can do that makes it look really nice. So thanks all 7 of you for watching. And we'll think of something to have next week. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but and thanks, Joelle, for being there. And thanks for doing Power Hour last week. That I definitely need to go finish watching the whole thing. I can't wait to try out hub sites too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Over and out.